Hey everyone and welcome. Today we're diving into a really big idea. What if our whole understanding of law is based on a map of the world that's completely out of date? We're going to explore this growing clash between our global, borderless lives and a legal system that's still stuck thinking in terms of territories.
So let's just jump right in with a question. It seems pretty simple on the surface, but it's actually way more complex than you'd think. How many different legal systems do you think have authority over you right now? Is it just one? Or is it a lot more tangled?
Well, let's take the author of the book we're looking at as an example. It gets layered fast. He lives in Maryland, he works in D.C., and at the time of writing, he might be physically located in Massachusetts. Right there, that's 3 different state-level legal systems, not to mention U.S. federal law. But, it doesn't stop at the government. He's also got his university's rules on tenure, the professional standards from the American Bar Association, and even the rules of a private company like Google, which literally decides how his work gets seen by the world. We are all living in this incredibly complex web of overlapping rules all the time.
And that, right there, is the core of the problem. Our lives are messy and multi-layered, but our traditional idea of law, well, it pretends everything is simple. It's built on this convenient fiction that any single action happens in one place, and so only one set of rules should apply. But that old territory-based map just doesn't match the world we actually live in.
Okay, so let's dig into that a little deeper. We're going to see exactly why this old map of law is so completely broken in our modern, connected world.
What's so striking here is just how different these two columns are. The old model, it's all neat and tidy. Law is connected to a specific piece of dirt. One place, one rule. Simple. But our reality? It's messy. Think about an online purchase, a financial trade, a satellite broadcast. These things don't really happen in one place. They kind of happen everywhere at once, which makes physical location, well, almost irrelevant for figuring out who's in charge.
And listen, this isn't just some abstract academic idea. These are real-world headaches that a simple territory-based system just can't handle. How do you apply U.S. law in a place like Guantanamo Bay, which is designed to be a legal black hole? Or who gets to prosecute a hacker in Russia who unleashes a virus that hits the U.S.? These are the kinds of problems that show the cracks in that old legal foundation.
This quote just illustrates the problem perfectly. The famous Yahoo case back in 2000 is the classic example. So you've got Yahoo, a U.S. company, and under U.S. law, they're protected by free speech. But in France, selling Nazi memorabilia is illegal. So when a French court realized that French citizens could access this stuff on Yahoo's site, it said, hey, we have jurisdiction here. That single online act was legally in France and in the U.S. at the exact same time. A purely territorial solution is literally impossible in a case like this.
So if the old way is broken, how do we fix it? Well, people tend to suggest 2 big solutions. But as we're about to see, they're both seriously flawed because they basically try to wish the problem away instead of actually dealing with it.
So on one side, you've got the people who say, let's just build bigger walls. Their idea is to double down on national borders and pretend that every country can just be its own little legal island. Then on the other side, you have the one world law folks. They want to get rid of all the messy differences and create one single, universal set of rules for everybody. But here's the fundamental problem. Both of these ideas try to eliminate the complexity. They see this overlap of legal systems, what the author calls legal hybridity, as a bug, a problem that needs to be erased. But the argument here is that this hybridity isn't a bug, it's a feature. It's an inevitable, permanent part of our globalized world. You can't just put that genie back in the bottle. Okay, so if building walls is a dead end and creating one world law is a dead end, what's left? Well, this brings us to the really powerful idea at the heart of this whole thing. What if, instead of trying to fight the overlap, we actually embraced it?
So first, let's nail down a key term here, cosmopolitanism. Now in this context, it has nothing to do with creating a single world government. Not at all. It's much simpler. It just means recognizing a basic truth about ourselves, that we are all members of a bunch of different communities at the same time. Our neighborhood, our nation, our professional groups, our online friends, all of it.
And the second piece of the puzzle is pluralism. This is the idea that law doesn't just come down from on high from governments, it's also created by all those other communities we're a part of. I mean, think about religious laws, or the internal rules that govern an entire industry like the diamond trade, or the standards set by international professional boards. These non-government norms have real power. They are a form of law. Now, when you put those two ideas together, you get cosmopolitan pluralism.
And what this does is give us a brand new framework, a new lens for seeing the world as it actually is, a collection of overlapping, sometimes conflicting, but coexisting legal spaces.
This completely changes what we think the goal of law is. Instead of a judge's job being to find the one right answer, this approach is jurisgenerative. It's about generating law through the conversation. The focus shifts from winning and losing to the ongoing dialogue itself. From this point of view, legal conflict isn't a problem to be solved. It's the very engine that makes the system work and adapt.
I know this might all sound a little bit abstract, but it actually has some very real, practical implications. So, what does managing this messy, hybrid world actually look like in practice? Let's get to the takeaway.
So here's the crucial point. The goal is not to pick one law to rule them all. The goal is to build better systems for managing the inevitable disagreements. It's about creating procedures and institutions that let these different legal worlds talk to each other productively, instead of just crashing into one another. And this new way of thinking actually gives us a practical toolkit, a sort of playbook. Step 1. Recognize that, hey, maybe more than one community has a legitimate claim here. Step 2. Create ways for them to actually talk to each other. Step 3. Actively look for ways to reconcile the different rules. Step 4. Be willing to step back and let another community's rules apply when you can. And Step 5. If you absolutely can't do that, you have to explain exactly why.
And all of this matters so much because it directly impacts how we solve our biggest global challenges. Seriously, think about regulating AI, or fighting climate change, or dealing with data privacy. No single country can solve these things alone. This approach creates a way for all these different legal systems and communities to collaborate on solutions, turning conflict into a source of creativity and building a legal world that's just more flexible and ultimately more resilient.
So, in the end, this whole framework leaves us with this one really provocative and absolutely essential question for the future. In a world full of competing rules and different truths, is it possible for us to build fair procedures for resolving our deepest conflicts, even if we can never all agree on what justice actually means? That right there is the central challenge of our interconnected world.